Have you ever wondered why people only seem to notice your value after you've stepped away? It's a strange paradox of human psychology, something that feels counterintuitive, yet plays out time and again in relationships, friendships, and even professional dynamics. Why is it that the things we freely give are often taken for granted, while the things we withhold spark curiosity, desire, and longing? Imagine this. You're walking through a desert, parched and desperate for water. You stumble upon a stream, clear and flowing endlessly. At first it feels like salvation, but soon you take it for granted. It's always there, always flowing, so you stop noticing it. Now, imagine that stream suddenly dries up, leaving the earth cracked and barren. The absence of what you once had, so easily and abundantly, strikes you with a pang of regret. You miss it, not because it wasn't there, but because you stopped valuing its presence. This is the essence of what we're exploring today. The psychology behind what makes people miss you, crave your presence, and finally recognize your worth, and how Stoicism offers timeless insights into flipping the script in your favor. The paradox of presence, too much versus too little. There's an undeniable truth about human behavior. We overlook what's easy to access and desire what feels just beyond our reach. This isn't just a cliché, it's deeply rooted in our psychology. As Ralph Waldo Emerson observed, our admiration of the antique is not admiration of the old, but of the rare. Rarity creates value, and value commands attention. Think about a diamond displayed in a high-end store. The glass case and security guards aren't there just for protection. They send a message. This is precious. Now, imagine that same diamond lying in the street, unnoticed and unguarded. Its brilliance doesn't change, but its perceived value plummets because it's too accessible, too common. In life, we often act like that unguarded diamond, freely offering our time, attention, and emotional energy to people who haven't earned it. We overextend ourselves, trying to prove our worth, only to find that we're taken for granted. Why? Because what comes too easily is seldom appreciated. The Stoic approach, holding your ground. Stoicism teaches us that self-control and self-respect are the cornerstones of a fulfilled life. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What you think about yourself, your worth, your value, directly shapes how others perceive you. What they think about you. If you act like a desperate leaf, blown about by the winds of others' approval, you'll be treated as such. But if you stand tall like an ancient oak, rooted and unshaken, people will begin to admire and miss your steadfast presence. When you stop chasing, when you pull back your energy, something remarkable happens. People notice. They see the space where your attention once was, and they start to question why it's gone. They begin to appreciate the quiet strength of someone who doesn't need to beg, plead, or chase to be noticed. Why absence makes the heart grow fonder. Absence, when done intentionally, has a strange effect on people. It creates space for them to reflect on your value, something they couldn't see when you were constantly available. Consider the moon. It's always there, but its phases, its moments of fullness and absence, make us notice it differently. When the moon is hidden, we long for its light. When it's full, we marvel at its glow. Your presence in someone's life works in much the same way. Too much light, and they take it for granted. Too little, and they may forget you. But finding that perfect balance, rooted in self-worth and restraint, creates an irresistible pull. This isn't about manipulation. It's about respecting yourself enough to know when to step back. By creating distance, you allow others to experience the weight of your absence and, in turn, the value of your presence. The power of reflection over reaction. One of the most profound Stoic principles is to reflect rather than react. In relationships, this principle is transformative. When someone begins to pull away or take you for granted, the instinctive reaction is to chase, to seek answers, to demand recognition. But this only deepens their indifference. Instead, imagine being like a still lake, reflecting the world as it is without letting external turbulence disturb your inner peace. When you respond with calm, unyielding strength, you're no longer that fallen apple waiting to be picked up. You become the high-hanging fruit, something worth climbing for. The shift isn't just in their perception of you, but in your perception of yourself. You're no longer defined by their approval, but by your own quiet confidence. The irony of growth, flourishing in silence. True growth doesn't need an audience. In fact, the most powerful transformations happen quietly, away from the spotlight. When a tree grows, it doesn't announce its progress. It simply stretches toward the sky, its roots sinking deeper into the earth. People notice its towering presence only after it has already become unshakable. Similarly, your growth, emotional, spiritual, physical, should be for you, not for applause. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself without seeking external validation, others can't help but take notice. They'll start to miss the version of you they took for granted, now replaced by someone they can't quite reach. Reclaiming your role as the prize. To be missed, to be valued, you must first see yourself as valuable. This isn't about arrogance or playing games. It's about understanding that your time, energy, and presence are gifts, not guarantees. When you treat yourself as the prize, others begin to see you that way too. Think about the difference between a prized artifact in a museum and a trinket sold on every street corner. The artifact's value isn't just in its rarity, but in the care with which it's presented. Similarly, your value isn't just in who you are, but in how you carry yourself. Your transformation begins now. The truth is, people start missing you, not when you beg for their attention, but when you quietly reclaim your power. When you stop chasing and start focusing on your own growth, you become magnetic. They'll begin to notice what they've lost, not because you shouted it from the rooftops, but because your absence speaks louder than words. As you move forward, remember this: you are the prize. Stand tall, reflect rather than react, and let your presence, or absence, show them what they've been taking for granted. This isn't just about being missed, it's about becoming unforgettable. The power of affirmation lies in its ability to reshape your mindset, reminding you daily of your worth and potential. Repeat this affirmation and let it guide your transformation. I am the rare and radiant light they can't ignore. Write this in the comments below to affirm your value and take the first step toward reclaiming your power. If this message resonated with you, show some love by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. We're pouring our hearts into creating meaningful content to help you grow and thrive. You're the reason we do this. Number 1. Leave them guessing, keep them wanting. Have you ever noticed how a great mystery novel keeps you turning pages, unable to put it down? It's not because it reveals everything up front, but because it leaves you guessing, wanting to know more. Now, imagine applying this concept to your life and relationships. Why do we so often feel the need to explain ourselves completely, to pour out every thought, emotion, and plan to others? Human psychology tells us that people value what they have to figure out, not what's handed to them on a silver platter. When you stop over-explaining and instead let your actions and quiet confidence speak for themselves, something fascinating happens. People start to miss you. Human behavior is wired to crave what it can't fully grasp. As Socrates once said, wisdom begins in wonder. The same principle applies to how people perceive you. When you are constantly available, transparent and predictable, there's no room left for curiosity or intrigue. But when you step back, when you become intentional about what you reveal, you spark a sense of wonder. They begin to think, what's going on with them? Why do I suddenly feel their absence so profoundly? This shift is subtle, yet powerful, and it all begins with mastering the art of leaving them guessing. Imagine for a moment that you're walking through a gallery filled with stunning paintings. One painting, with its vivid colors and bold strokes, immediately catches your attention. But as you step closer, the details are incomplete. Just enough to draw you in, but not enough to fully explain the story. You're intrigued, captivated, and you can't stop thinking about it. That painting becomes the one you remember most. Now, contrast that with a painting that explains itself entirely in one glance. While beautiful, it doesn't linger in your mind because it's already given you everything it has. This is exactly how human psychology works in relationships. When you leave gaps, when you allow people to wonder, they stay invested. Leaving them guessing isn't about playing games or withholding important parts of who you are. It's about understanding the power of restraint. When you refrain from oversharing, you give others the space to reflect on what you've already offered. This creates a dynamic where they begin to seek you out, to fill in the blanks themselves, rather than you trying to prove your value. The less you explain, the more they ponder. The less you chase, the more they notice. And in this subtle shift lies the power to be truly unforgettable. Here's a critical truth. When you're too transparent or overly eager, it sends a subconscious signal that you don't see your own worth. Psychologically, this is why people often take constant attention for granted. But when you pull back and allow your presence to be felt rather than forced, you project quiet confidence. Think of yourself as a lighthouse on a distant shore, steady, unshaken and visible to all who are looking but never chasing the ships that pass by. Those who are meant to find their way to you will, and when they do, they will value the journey. The act of leaving them guessing also cultivates respect. When you stop trying to explain or justify your every move, you show that you don't need external validation. This self-assurance is magnetic. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By reacting with calmness and mystery, you allow others to see you as someone whose life is full and independent, not defined by their approval or attention. Imagine a tree growing in the heart of a forest. It doesn't announce each new leaf or branch. It grows in silence, rooted deeply, reaching upward. Yet one day, a passerby looks up in awe and realizes how tall and magnificent it's become. Your life should mirror that tree, steady, quiet, and undeniably impressive. You don't have to shout your growth from the rooftops. Let them notice it for themselves, and when they do, they'll find themselves longing to understand the strength and beauty that blossomed in your absence. So how do you begin to embody this principle? Start by holding back from offering every detail of your plans, emotions, or intentions. Let people earn the right to see deeper into your world. Focus on growing yourself in ways that naturally shine without needing a spotlight. And most importantly, trust that the people who truly value you will recognize your worth. not because you've laid it all out for them, but because they've taken the time to notice. Remember this affirmation: my mystery is my magnetism. Write it in the comments below as a declaration of your newfound confidence. Let it remind you that you don't need to chase or over-explain to be noticed. Your value speaks louder in your quiet strength than in any words you could say. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We work hard to bring you lessons that transform your life, one powerful principle at a time. Let's grow stronger together, step by step. You've got this. Number 2. Be the rare gem in their mundane world. Have you ever noticed how the most unforgettable treasures in life are the ones that feel rare and elusive? It's a fundamental quirk of human psychology. We tend to undervalue what is easily available and overvalue what feels scarce or extraordinary. This is not just about material things. It applies to people too. When someone becomes a constant, predictable part of your world, their value can fade into the background. But when they step back, when they stand apart, like a rare gem glinting in the sunlight, suddenly they're impossible to forget. Human beings are wired to crave novelty and uniqueness. It's why a once beloved song starts to lose its magic after being played on repeat. But think about an heirloom, a one-of-a-kind piece of art, or even a handwritten note from someone special. These things hold their weight in gold, not because they're perfect, but because they're rare. As Oscar Wilde famously said, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." When you embrace your individuality and treat yourself as a rare gem in their otherwise mundane world, people will start to notice and miss you in ways you can't imagine. Imagine walking into a vast desert filled with ordinary pebbles. For hours, your eyes scan the monotony of dull, brown stones. Suddenly, a single sparkling gem catches your eye. Its brilliance stops you in your tracks. You can't ignore it. You can't help but wonder how it got there. That gem doesn't have to shout for attention or explain its worth. It simply exists, and that alone is enough to captivate. This is the power of rarity. Now, think about how you might have been acting in your relationships or social interactions. Were you the sparkling gem, or were you blending in with the countless pebbles, offering your time and energy without pause, making yourself too easy to access? Here's the key. You become the rare gem by valuing yourself first. When you're always available, constantly giving, and endlessly trying to please, you unintentionally diminish your own sparkle. You fade into the background of their lives because you've made it too easy for them to overlook your worth. But when you start to step back, focus on yourself, and shine independently, you create a stark contrast to the mundane. This doesn't mean playing games or being cold. It means holding yourself to a standard of respect and self-worth that commands attention without words. Human psychology is fascinating in this regard. Studies show that scarcity and exclusivity increase perceived value. Think about limited edition sneakers, exclusive memberships, or even a last chance sale. These things attract us because they're not readily available. The same principle applies to human connections. When you establish boundaries, prioritize your passions, and become less accessible, people naturally begin to crave the time and energy you once offered so freely. Your presence becomes something they miss, not because you pushed them away, but because you pulled your energy inward, creating a space they yearn to fill. Metaphorically speaking, you are like a lighthouse on a distant shore. You don't need to move or chase ships to prove your importance. Instead, You stand tall, steady, and shining brightly in your own right. Ships navigate toward your light, not because you beg them to, but because they recognize the beacon of strength and stability you provide. Your rarity lies in your refusal to dim your light to suit others, or to be just another fixture in their journey. But this transformation isn't just about making others miss you. It's about reclaiming your own power. When you see yourself as valuable, others will too. You'll stop seeking approval from others and start radiating the kind of quiet confidence that leaves a lasting impression. Ralph Waldo Emerson put it beautifully. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Embrace your uniqueness unapologetically, and you'll become someone they simply can't forget. As you embark on this journey of becoming the rare gem in their mundane world, remember this: your value doesn't come from being everything to everyone. It comes from knowing your worth and standing firm in it. You don't need to chase attention or prove yourself to anyone. Your individuality, your passions and your boundaries are what make you extraordinary. So, take a moment right now to affirm this truth. I am a rare gem, and my value shines on its own. Write this affirmation in the comments below and let it sink in. Remind yourself every day that your worth doesn't depend on how much you give or how hard you chase. Instead, it's rooted in the rarity and brilliance of simply being you. If this message resonates with you, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're here to help you uncover your value, build unshakable confidence, and embrace a life where your worth is never up for debate. Thank you for being part of this journey, and remember, your brilliance is unmatched. Keep shining. Number 3. Don't be their daily bread, be the delicacy. Have you ever noticed how easily people take for granted what's always there? Like the bread on their table, a staple they never truly appreciate until it's gone. This is the trap of becoming someone's daily bread. Essential, dependable, but overlooked. The truth is, human psychology isn't wired to value what's abundant and easy to access. Instead, we yearn for what feels rare, special, and out of reach. If you've been pouring all your time and energy into being always available, it's time to rethink your approach. Don't be their daily bread. Be the delicacy they savor and can't stop thinking about. Consider this. When was the last time you marveled at your morning toast? Probably never. Bread is predictable, ordinary, always within reach. Now think of a rich, decadent dessert you only enjoy on special occasions. It lingers in your memory, doesn't it? Its rarity makes it special, and the anticipation of experiencing it again keeps you longing for more. The same principle applies to human relationships. When you make yourself too accessible, always there to cater to their needs or whims, your value diminishes in their eyes. They stop noticing your unique qualities and begin treating you as a constant, a background noise in their lives. But when you shift from being readily available to being thoughtfully present, you create a dynamic where your presence becomes an event, not an expectation. Human psychology is fascinating in this regard. We are wired to crave what feels scarce or exclusive. The concept of supply and demand isn't just for economics. It applies to relationships too. When someone feels they have unlimited access to you, they unconsciously lower their estimation of your worth. On the other hand, when your time and attention are given selectively, it forces them to evaluate the significance of your presence. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly when he said, "What is rare is valuable. If you want to be missed, you must embrace the rarity of your attention. Imagine yourself as a breathtaking piece of art in a museum. People don't casually stumble upon you every day. They make a conscious effort to come and admire you. They reflect on your details, your essence, and the impact you have on them. Now, contrast that with a flyer on a bulletin board, seen by many but valued by none. Which would you rather be? This shift from being ubiquitous to being intentional is the difference between being overlooked and being unforgettable. The process begins with setting boundaries. Don't rush to answer every call or text, or be the first to jump at every opportunity to please. This isn't about playing games, it's about respecting your own time and energy. When you make people wait, when you make them work for your attention, you're signaling that you value yourself. And here's the irony: the more you value yourself, the more others will value you too. It's human nature to desire what feels exclusive. By no longer being the daily bread they assume will always be there, you elevate your presence into something they cherish. Let's ground this in a metaphor you'll never forget. Think of a sunset. It happens every day, but not everyone stops to admire it. Now imagine a solar eclipse, an extraordinary event that captivates the entire world. People travel miles, rearrange their schedules, and prepare for months just to witness it. The difference lies in its rarity. When you become the delicacy, the eclipse, they don't just notice you, they prioritize you. They begin to miss you, not because you're gone, but because your presence has become a treasure, not a given. As you make this transformation, remember that this isn't about manipulation or withholding love. It's about creating a balance where your presence is intentional and meaningful. You're teaching others and yourself that your time, energy, and attention are valuable. And that lesson starts with how you treat yourself. When you stop overextending, you reclaim your power and project an aura of self-worth that others can't ignore. Here's the affirmation to carry with you. I am a rare treasure, cherished and valued. Write it down, say it aloud, and let it guide your interactions. And now, take it a step further. Type this affirmation into the comments. Commit to treating yourself with the respect and value you deserve. If you found this message helpful and empowering, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We're here to provide you with life-changing lessons rooted in wisdom and psychology. Let's build a life of strength, confidence, and self-respect together. Number 4. Show your colors, but keep a few hidden. Have you ever noticed how the most captivating people in your life aren't the ones who reveal everything about themselves up front? They're the ones who give you just enough to pique your curiosity, but keep a little mystery tucked away. This isn't a coincidence. It's a profound psychological effect rooted in our human desire to uncover what we don't fully understand. When you show your colors but keep a few hidden, you become more intriguing, more valued, and ultimately unforgettable. Human psychology tells us that people are drawn to what feels rare and layered. Just like a painting with rich, vibrant strokes that invites closer inspection, you too can craft an allure by showing only parts of yourself while keeping the rest for those who truly earn it. When someone sees the full picture too quickly, they often stop looking. But if there's something more to uncover, they'll lean in, eager to learn, eager to be part of your world. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. This applies to how you present yourself too. Show your authentic hues, the boldness of your ambitions, the warmth of your kindness, the brilliance of your intelligence, but resist the urge to spill every drop of paint onto the canvas. Holding back isn't about being deceptive. It's about protecting your essence and allowing others to value what you choose to share. Imagine yourself as a gemstone. When a diamond is polished just enough to sparkle, it draws people in. They marvel at its brilliance and want to possess it, but the diamond doesn't reveal its every facet all at once. Now think about a stone that's completely transparent. It might be beautiful, but it loses its mystery and allure. Human psychology works in much the same way. People value what they must work to understand. When you reveal everything too soon, you risk becoming mundane in their eyes, no matter how extraordinary you truly are. This doesn't mean you should withhold your emotions or hide your authenticity. Instead, it's about striking the perfect balance between vulnerability and self-respect. Share your strengths with pride, your quirks with confidence, and your dreams with those who truly care to listen. But keep some of your deeper layers, the struggles you're working through, the unpolished parts of your soul, reserved for those who have proven they value you for more than what you can offer them. The irony is that when you keep some parts of yourself hidden, people start noticing more. It's like watching a magician perform an incredible trick, but never revealing how it's done. The mystery lingers in their mind, drawing them back for more. The same principle applies to human interactions. When you become an open book, people may skim your pages, but when you reveal only a chapter or two, they're compelled to stay and discover the rest. Think about the Mona Lisa. Why is it one of the most famous paintings in the world? It's not because it reveals everything, it's because of what it conceals. That mysterious smile, the enigmatic eyes, they keep people guessing, speculating and returning. You too can evoke that same intrigue in the lives of those around you by holding back just enough to let them wonder. Now, here's where Stoicism comes in. Stoics teach us to live with intentionality and self-control. By not oversharing or seeking constant validation, you regain your power. You stop giving away the parts of yourself that should be cherished and protected. As Epictetus said, you are a distinct portion of the essence of God and contain a certain part of Him in yourself. That divine part of you isn't meant to be spread thin or handed out indiscriminately. It's meant to be safeguarded and shared with intention. When you show your colors, but keep a few hidden, you tell the world, I am worth knowing, but only those who truly see my value will get to see all of me. This quiet confidence not only commands respect, but also makes your presence impossible to forget. People start to miss you not because you've disappeared, but because they crave the pieces of you they've yet to discover. So, the next time you feel the urge to share every detail of your life to prove your worth, pause, reflect on the value of your uniqueness, and let others do the work to uncover the layers of your brilliance. You're not a fleeting spark. You're a steady flame, and people will notice the warmth you bring, especially when it's not readily available to everyone. As we conclude, let this affirmation anchor you. I reveal only what I choose, and what I choose is valuable. Write it in the comments to declare your newfound self-respect and magnetism. And if this message resonated with you, support our channel by liking this video and subscribing. Your growth matters, and we're here to help you build a life where your worth isn't just seen, it's felt. Together, let's create a world where your light shines on your terms. Number 5. Let them chase the mystery, not the mundane. Have you ever wondered why the most breathtaking sunsets aren't the ones we see every day, but the ones that catch us off guard? Those fleeting moments where the sky is painted with colors we couldn't predict? It's because the extraordinary holds our attention while the routine fades into the background. The same principle applies to relationships and human connection. People don't miss the predictable, they miss the enigmatic, the intriguing. They miss the moments where they're left wondering, what's next? Who are they really? This is the art of letting them chase the mystery, not the mundane. When everything about you is laid out on the table, you leave no room for curiosity. It's like reading a book where all the twists are spoiled in the prologue. You might keep reading, but there's no spark, no excitement. Conversely, if you hold back just enough to leave some questions unanswered, you become the story they can't put down. They'll keep turning the pages of their thoughts about you, replaying interactions, trying to decipher the puzzle of who you are. In psychology, this phenomenon is rooted in our innate desire for discovery. We are wired to chase what challenges us, what feels just out of reach. When you're always available, sharing every detail of your life, you unintentionally remove the chase. But when you present yourself with subtlety, revealing just enough to spark interest, but holding back enough to keep them guessing, you ignite their curiosity. As Rumi beautifully said, "Don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth." Think of yourself as a treasure chest, not one that's wide open, spilling its contents, but one that's beautifully adorned, locked, and waiting for someone worthy to unlock it. The sight of the chest alone is intriguing, but it's the mystery of what lies inside that captivates. The treasure isn't diminished by being hidden. Its allure grows. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence and intentionality, you become the treasure chest, something to be pursued, not something to be handed over without effort. Now, picture a cat chasing a laser pointer. The cat doesn't chase because it can catch the light. It chases because the movement keeps it engaged. Similarly, humans are drawn to what feels dynamic, alive, and slightly out of reach. If you allow yourself to become static and overly predictable, the engagement fades. But when you embrace your layers and complexities, allowing them to unfold naturally rather than all at once, you become the light they can't resist following. This doesn't mean you need to be elusive or play games. Authenticity and mystery can coexist beautifully. It's not about hiding who you are, but sharing yourself in doses, in moments that feel right. Stoicism teaches us that self-control is a virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means you control how much you reveal, how you present yourself, and how you guard your energy. Let them chase not because you're being difficult, but because you know your worth. Here's an example. Imagine you're at a social gathering, and instead of dominating the conversation or trying to impress everyone, you're thoughtful, observant, and intentional with your words. You share when it adds value, not just to fill the silence. People will leave the gathering thinking about you, not because you said too much, but because you said just enough to leave an impression. This subtlety is where the power of mystery lies. And it's not just about what you say or don't say. It's about how you live. When you're deeply engaged in your own passions, pursuing your goals, and growing in silence, you naturally create a sense of intrigue. People will notice your focus and wonder what's driving you. They'll be drawn to the confidence and fulfillment you radiate, and they'll realize they don't have full access to that world unless they truly earn it. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't require manipulation or pretense. It's about being intentional with your presence and your energy. It's about recognizing that you don't need to prove your worth to anyone because your worth is inherent. By letting them chase the mystery of who you are, you invite them to see your depth, your complexity, and your value on your terms. So, here's the truth. They start missing you not when you flood their life with your presence, but when you leave enough space for them to realize what's missing. Give them something to think about, something to wonder about. Let your life, your choices, and your actions speak for you. Show them that you're a dynamic, evolving person, someone they'll never fully figure out, and that's the beauty of it. Here's your affirmation. I am the unfolding mystery. Write it in the comments and let it remind you every day that your value lies not in being easily understood, but in being authentically and intentionally yourself. If this resonates with you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're here to help you unlock your potential, step into your power, and create a life that commands respect, admiration, and yes, a little mystery. Keep growing, keep glowing, and let them chase the masterpiece that is you. Number 6. Cut the strings, reclaim your power. Have you ever felt like a puppet, your strings pulled by someone else's whims and desires? The harder you try to please, the more tangled those strings become, leaving you feeling powerless and controlled. Human psychology is clear on this. When others sense they have unchecked influence over you, they often take your presence for granted. To reclaim your power, you must cut those strings, not in anger, but in quiet, confident self-respect. Imagine a kite tethered to the ground by a frayed, controlling string. The wind tugs at it, eager to take it higher, but the string holds it back, limiting its potential. Now, picture the moment that string snaps, not as a loss, but as liberation. The kite soars, free to find its own path in the vast sky. This is what happens when you stop letting others dictate your emotions, your worth, and your actions. Instead of being bound by their approval or disapproval, you choose to fly on your own terms. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Cutting the strings is not about rejecting others, but about embracing your own autonomy. When you stop reacting to every slight, every cold shoulder, or every breadcrumb of attention, you send a powerful message. I value myself enough to let go. This inner strength is magnetic, compelling others to see you in a new light. No longer as someone they can control, but as someone they admire. Think of a river that changes its course after years of erosion. It doesn't announce its shift. It simply flows where it's meant to, carving a new path. You, too, have the power to redirect your energy away from chasing validation and toward building your own foundation of strength. When you reclaim control, you're no longer swayed by external forces. You become the river shaping your destiny. Write this affirmation in the comments. I cut the strings. I reclaim my power. Let it remind you every day that your worth is not up for negotiation. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us as we continue creating lessons to help you live a life of unshakable confidence and self-respect. Let's build this journey together. Number 7. Shine like the sun, warm, distant, and unmissable. Have you ever noticed how the sun, despite being millions of miles away, commands our admiration and attention every single day? It doesn't chase anyone, nor does it apologize for its distance. Instead, it shines unapologetically, providing warmth and light to all who seek it. This is how you need to think about your own presence. Human psychology tells us that people are drawn to what is valuable, yet not overly accessible. Like the sun, when you maintain your warmth while keeping a little distance, you become someone they can't ignore and won't forget. As Albert Camus once said, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer." This is your power. The ability to radiate light and warmth from within, regardless of external circumstances. People don't miss those who dim themselves to fit in or who make themselves too available. They miss those who shine brightly, rooted in their own confidence, self-worth, and purpose. Imagine yourself as a bonfire on a cold night. The closer people come, the more they appreciate your warmth, but they know they can't get too close without risking discomfort. That balance between connection and boundaries makes you magnetic. Now, contrast that with a flashlight someone can pick up and use at will, convenient but forgettable once the task is done. This is the core of human psychology. We cherish what feels steady, strong, and slightly out of reach. So, how do you shine like the sun? By embracing your value and allowing your actions to reflect your confidence. You don't need to chase approval or beg for attention. Instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself, warm, distant, and unforgettable. Work on your passions, your dreams, and your happiness, and let those things illuminate the world around you. The right people will notice and gravitate toward your light, not because you begged them to, but because they can't help but feel drawn to your radiance. Remember, you are not the moon reflecting someone else's light. You are the sun, blazing with your own brilliance. Say this affirmation to yourself.